Hey there, it's Laura Dominic. Thanks for joining me on a Plan for Joy podcast. Each week we'll be talking about things that will help you break the cycle of depletion. You know, the one that has you going from doing all the things to feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, resentment, anger, to sucking it up and starting all over again. And instead, learn to break the cycle and contribute from a place of abundance. Are you ready? Good. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to a Plan for Joy podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the difference between taking action versus not taking action, or inaction, if you want to call it that. Like, how do we know when to take action and when not to take it, really? There's just so much conflicting advice and decisions that need to be made. So to start off, I just want to first tell you a story of when taking action was kind of the wrong thing for us to do. This past summer, we had spent the weekend up in a touristy area not far from us. We didn't realize we were booking lodging at one of those timeshare places. We weren't really led to believe that ahead of time, but when we checked in, we found out that was in fact the case. And so they said, well, hey, if you sit in on our 1 hour presentation, we'll pay for your breakfast at this restaurant that we wanted to go to. All right, sure. What's an hour out of the weekend, right? So we went and we listened to the talk. And of course, it was about a new way of taking vacations that's kind of different than the typical timeshare model. And so as we listened, we got deeper and deeper into what they were talking to us about. And, as any good salesperson will do in that case, they started speaking our language. And so we spent quite a lot of time that day asking questions and going over all the information. We kind of became enthralled with the picture they were painting, which was pretty much their point, right? But behind the scenes, what led up to that, prior to us going on that weekend, my husband and I have been spending a lot of time talking about taking actions and making decisions, because in our past, we both had very fixed mindsets and didn't really like to take any kind of risky, in our opinion, actions. And so we never really did a whole lot. We had reasons for that, of course, but we had been talking about trying to do better at that, to kind of loosen up and look at things in more of a growth mindset. And so after sitting there for 2 hours, I think we were like, yeah, this sounds great. Let's do this. Sign us up for everything. And so we spent the next hour or so doing all the paperwork and getting everything set up. Then we got in the car because our kids had been, all our kids are older, so they were fine, but they had been waiting for us for hours now, because we told them, it would just be an hour. And then we needed to go home. So we got in the car, and as we're driving back home, we both started kind of looking at each other and going, what the heck did we just do? This isn't what we want. This doesn't fit with the goals and the dreams that we have. This isn't what we had talked about. It's not how we want to take our vacations. The more we started thinking about it, it was like very restrictive compared to what we were used to doing. And so we talked about it more on the way home, and we realized, the way we're doing things is perfectly fine. We're still going to take vacations. They might not be to elaborate destinations, but they'll be pretty much on the terms we want them to be on. So fortunately, this whole thing had a 3-day clause to back out of it. So right away the next day, we started getting all of that in place. And, it was seamless to undo all of the action that we had taken the day before. So what happened? What was the point of all that? Sometimes I kind of like to know the why or the what behind things, even though, God's usually gracious. He usually kind of gives me a hint as to what's going on. And what I think really happened was that it was kind of a lesson. Like we had dreams, we had goals, we had things that we wanted to accomplish. And we were so excited about just taking action when typically we wouldn't do something that crazy for us, I guess. But we should have been strategic in our action and not rash in our action. We had a plan, or we have a plan, and this kind of didn't really fit into that plan. It was this came out of nowhere deviation from our plan. And when we really removed ourselves from the emotional part of the situation, we realized it didn't fit with what our plan was. And so even though it was exhilarating at the time to make those decisions and be like, oh, look at what we're doing, it's so much fun. When we stopped to think about it, it was like, no, that was action that we probably shouldn't have taken. Fortunately, it ended fine. It didn't cost anything out of our pocket. So then you sit back and you go, well, how do you know then when it's the right time to take action and when you shouldn't take action, versus just never taking action because you just don't, right? There's a difference there. I started reading the book Life is Messy by Matthew Kelly. And within the first, I don't know, couple of pages, he says sometimes the best action to take is no action at all. Okay. I had to sit with that for a while, but I know that's true because sometimes I do that. I take rash action. Like I jump in, I have no patience. I jump in before I should. And chances are I mess things up because I'm jumping in and taking action before I should. And then I've been listening to a lot of Mel Robbins lately, and she has her book, The 5-Second Rule. And so among other things in that book, one of the things she says is when you need to get up and do something. So this is like immediate action, little thing kind of action, although you could use it for big actions. She says, and you just don't feel like doing it. Maybe you're looking at your phone. I mean, how many times this has happened? It's time to start dinner and you don't want to. And so you're looking at your phone. Oh, I know I should get up. I mean, this is kind of like a nightly occurrence for me. I got to take action. I got to get up. My family wants to be fed. I have food to cook, but I still sit there. And so her thing is the 5-second rule. So you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just move your body. You're taking action because once you get moving, there's so many things that you'll just go ahead and do at that point. It's just the actual act of taking that first step. So I keep telling my kids that, okay, get up, time to get up or whatever, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then they have the audacity to turn around and use that on me. So if they see me sitting there saying, oh, I really need to get up and start cooking, they'll be like, Mom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ugh. So, beware on that one. And so I think really it depends on the size and the seriousness of the action you need to take. Small things, like I said, 5-second rule, put your phone down, get up, do it, get out of bed, get your exercise shoes on, whatever it is. Big things, obviously you need to be strategic in your planning of taking action on bigger things. And directly tied to action versus inaction is decision making. If you can't make a good decision, then you're going to have problems taking the right actions. Okay. And both of those are skills. You can learn decision making, you can learn how to make quick decisions. You can learn how to make decisions quickly, but change your mind about them slowly. So if you directly behind your ability to take action is your ability to make decisions. And so I'm sure that'll be a podcast somewhere down the future. But let's just talk about not taking action. There's always a cost to being someone who just perpetually does not take action. And some of the costs that you could relate to that is that you could live in regret for things that could have been. Maybe I missed a job opportunity because I didn't take action. Maybe I missed my future spouse because I didn't take action. And so you live in regret for the things that you know you should have done. You just knew it was the next right step, but you didn't do it. You are also going to lose out on having peace in the present moment because you're going to be thinking too much about the past and your regret, or worrying about the future if you have, action you should be taking, decisions you should be making. That's going to rob you of your present moment and any peace that you might have in there. Missed opportunities. Sometimes we need to take the next right step in order to know what the path is, because a lot of times the whole path isn't, I would have to say most of the time, the whole path isn't revealed to us. It's revealed a step at a time. So if we don't take that first step, we're not going to see what the second step is. And so sometimes that's all we need to do is take action and take that that first step. And then we'll see, oh, that makes so much more sense now. But if we never take that next right step, we're going to have these missed opportunities. And then wasted time, like all the time spent debating, should I do this? Should I do this? I mean, yes, prudence and prayer are necessary. I'm not discounting those at all, but think about it when you have to make a decision to take action. How much time do you waste on thinking about it instead of actually taking the action? So what you need to be cautious of is that inaction will lead to frustration. And that puts you right into the cycle of depletion. You might be overwhelmed, which is the first step in the cycle. You might be overwhelmed by an action you want to take, or you have to take, or you need to take. And then you'll begin to be frustrated because you don't know what to do. And then you'll be led into that step, the next step, which is resentment. You'll resent other people who can take action or who can make decisions, or you feel like they're moving through their life with ease when you're constantly stuck. So then you begin to resent people, and then you're just going to get angry. That's the last step before hopefully you don't blow up at people, because you're going to get angry that you can't make a decision and that you can't take the action you want to take. And so you take it out on other people. And then eventually you'll just start the whole cycle back over again without ever changing anything, without learning this skill, which again, it's a skill. It can be learned. So remember, our thoughts determine our feelings, which determine the actions we take or don't take. So if I'm consistently not taking action and I feel bad all the time about it, then I need to look at the thoughts behind why I'm not taking actions, and then the feelings that those thoughts are producing. And maybe that'll help me to see where the problem is. So for example, let's say I want to get a new job because I don't like the one I'm in, but I'm not taking any action to get that job or the new job. And so let's look at what thoughts are behind my inaction. It could be that I don't feel I'm qualified to do anything. Maybe I feel I'm too old to get a new job. Maybe I feel like no one would hire me. And so I have self-worth and self-image issues that I need to work on. And that's all going to make me feel very inadequate and afraid. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just sit in my job and be unhappy and get mad at everybody else, right? So how can we flip that around? How can I take action in the case that I want to get a new job? I look at my thoughts and I don't like I said, they're not positive thoughts. So the first thing I would do would be to work on those thoughts. I'm not too old to get a new job. Maybe I just need to update a few skills in order to feel more competent. Maybe I need to change my mindset so that I project more confidence. And so when I do that, and when I tell myself a different story, I'm going to start to feel hopeful and more confident. And so maybe the action I take at first isn't necessarily just to go out and get a new job, but it's to work to make a plan. What do I need to do? Are there skills I need to learn to make me more marketable? What kind of things, what's the process I need to take at this point so I can go out and take strategic action? Changing your mindset alone right there, if you're not going to do anything else, changing your mindset alone will allow you to see new and creative ideas that to help you solve your problems and to take the action you need to take. Because when we have a bad mindset, it drags us down and it closes off the creative pathways. And so we don't see or come up with ideas that we need. Okay. So telling yourself a new story will allow you to see a skill that you need to learn, or maybe it'll give you the idea to start your own business or to, go into business with somebody else. You would be surprised at what a little bit of mindset work can do. So this is where I'm going to say having your own plan for joy and going through the framework, as well as having somebody to hold you accountable, really comes in handy. Because we go through, like when you're setting up your own plan for joy, we're looking at what kind of skills do you need? Like I said, decision-making skills, taking action skills, mindset work. Maybe we need to work on your worth, your self-worth, your self-image. Who do you need to become to reach the dream and to pursue the dream that you have to pursue? So that's why this is such a well-rounded program, because it touches on all areas, and chances are there's a lot of different aspects of your life that are stopping you from taking the action you need. And then you know it as well as I do. Anytime you have somebody to hold you accountable, things go much better than if you were trying to do it all on your own without anybody knowing. Doesn't work as good. You talk yourself out of it right there. You don't take the action you need to take. But I want to say, behind all of this, you have to have prayer. The deeper your prayer life is, the more you are in tune with the Holy Spirit and how he typically moves in your life, because typically God works the same way, not all the time, but more often than not the same way in your life. A lot of times for me, it's through books. But the more in tune you are with that, the more likely you are to make good decisions and take the action you need to take. It certainly doesn't mean you won't make mistakes, because obviously we've all done that, right? Especially like that summertime example I just gave you. Yeah, it was a mistake. We took it. And I had been praying, okay, God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? But like I said, doesn't always guarantee no mistakes. But if you're trying to do God's will in your life, and you know it, he doesn't really give you very clear roadmaps all the time. He wants you to take action so he can show you the way. The prayer and the conversation you have with him will help you to discern the right action, or maybe in this case, no action. Sometimes not taking action allows things to fall into place better, so that when you do need to take action, it's more effective, because certain things had to happen before you needed to take action. And that's definitely something I need to work on, is being patient and knowing when to wait before taking action. So when you act, God can act in your life. But if you don't ever take any action, you're limiting what God can do. Plain and simple, right? I mean, I know God can work miracles, but he wants you, he needs you to be out there doing things, taking that next right step so he can continue to work in your life. So my recommendation also, make sure you have a solid prayer routine, and then make sure you have your own plan for joy. So, because so much of this is interwoven, and the reason why you might be prone to inaction is really a very personal mix of things, which is why it's hard to give a blanket statement, right? So I have a new small group mastermind starting up in January of 2023. If you are interested in taking that next right step, then this is the perfect place to sort this out. What is it you need to do in order to be able to take strategic action in your life on a consistent basis? If you're interested, I mean, I would love to collaborate with you, because there's so many different avenues we have to look at, and so many different tools that you can build and put in your toolbox for when you need them, right? I will leave a link in the show notes that you can contact me with, and we can talk about what that next right step might look like for you. For now, just being aware of how often inaction seems to be a problem in your life will help you, because awareness is the thing that you need in order to make any changes. Start paying attention to how often you're stuck in inaction throughout the day. Begin breaking down the situation and try to figure out what the root of the problem is. Because even if you can take one small step forward each day, then that's a step in the right direction. I can't wait to be on your action team. So I'm looking forward to when we can talk soon. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to my podcast or subscribe to my YouTube channel, either one. And if you could leave a review, that would be even better. And until then, I will see you next week, and God bless.